Hi, and welcome to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. My name is Chris Burres, one of the owners of EWR Digital.
And my name is Matt Bertram. I'm one of the owners of EWR Digital and your lead strategist for today.
The lead today and really every day that they're working with EWR, but that's
true.
And
Oil and Gas Global Network.
So. Yeah, also in multiple places.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of the podcast. This is podcast number 577. We do have a big announcement for you today, but first we wanted to talk about a couple of things. One, we haven't done a podcast in a while. Our last podcast was in May. Actually, we're in July now.
Sorry.
we do apologize. It has been like schedule conflict after schedule conflict, and actually we're going to do something that I think is safe to do. You tell me, because we could retract it.
What are we doing?
We're going to blame our wives because our wives have been scheduling holidays and trips and remote locations that have been hard to actually do events.
That's true. And I think it's safe.
They're not going to listen.
They're not going to listen.
Hey, no one out there who knows any one of our wives should send an email, please. We don't need that. But that is, I mean, really, it's the summer. We both have young kids.
Yeah.
We've been traveling. We've been, busy. When we're back, we're like getting caught up and everything. And so, yeah, we apologize. We're going to pick it up and things are going to change a little bit. So make sure you stay around for the announcement that's happening here. This is going to be a shorter podcast.
Okay.
But like all the really good podcasts, there is a review.
All right. Let's hear it.
So we're going to cover this review. This review is actually in Clutch. If you're not familiar with Clutch, clutch.com. It's a review site, a way that you can look for companies that are in our industry where they actually do third-party verification and
that's
confirming. It's a big deal. The reviews are kind of lengthy. And we've got quite a few reviews out there, so you can go check us out, EWR Digital at Clutch. So just do a Google search, you'll find it. And
Clutch at and slash EWR. Yeah, but whatever. You can find us.
I just Googled it. I was like, hey, let's pull up a review.
Well, they rank well. So it's a referral site, right?
Yeah.
So
and so this is from a global company. So actually it's one of our clients, and Clutch did confirm that they're our client, all that. So they've gone through that process. They just wanted to keep their name private. And there are 3 questions that kind of wrap up the review. And I wanted to cover those and the response from this company. Can you share any measurable outcomes of the project or general feedback about the deliverables? And the response was, since the beginning, our rankings have steadily improved, right?
Boom.
So yeah, like that's what he hired us for. Number 2, describe their project management style, including communication tools and timeliness. He kept it simple, email and phone communication. So when you're a customer, you've got email access, you've got phone access.
We do video chat too.
Yeah.
Okay. Since COVID, even before COVID, we're a video chat kind of company. We want to see you. We know a lot of things are communicated in verbal signals, right? Like we know how to reach people and sell things. And so, but it's also important for communication to know what people are saying. What's the question behind the question? There's a good book on tape about that.
Yeah.
Question behind the question. But I think connecting with people is really important.
Yeah,
Chris, one of the things I even want to do, and we've been talking about it, is multiple camera angles on you.
Oh,
Distance out. So it paints you more as a 3D person, because we're all in the virtual world, so remote. So sorry, big tangent.
Yeah. And let's be honest, when he says phone communication, some of that phone communication was actually, Google Meets and whatever. And then finally, what did you find most impressive or unique about this company? Again, EWR Digital, their knowledge of our industry, which should not surprise you as a listener of our podcast. But Patif, to the guy who left our review, what was it? You want to share his name? I don't know.
Peter.
Yeah. Patif to Peter, thank you for taking the time. Because this is the kind of thing we actually have to have a good relationship with the customer. We actually have to hey, this is going to be a little bit of a lengthy process. Can you please support us through this lengthy process? And
well, just to talk about knowledge in the industry, we can use analytics really well, and all you SEOs out there know that, to kind of reverse engineer what's going on, who the competitors are, who the target is. I just did a strategy session, profit plan from if you go to bestseopodcast.com, profit plan. We've bundled that in with our SEO services like quarterly.
Right.
And it's working really well because based on the commercial keyword intent, I would have done one thing.
Right.
Okay.
Just one thing. Yeah.
One thing. And through the conversation and how their book of business was built, and like when we dug into it, it was actually a low search volume, long tail key phrase, subcategory of subcategory. Okay.
Like, so 2 levels down. Wow.
I mean, we're talking 100 searches or less a month, but laser focused. We think that that's going to convert the best.
Yeah.
Right. And so even with all that data, it's like, even with our hosting company, it's co-hosta.
Yeah.
We have to do it with you. We have to work with you.
Yep.
And a lot of it's like a knowledge transfer workshop where we understand your business, what you're looking to do with digital marketing. It helps us align that better. And I would encourage any SEOs out there, if you're just offering, basic SEO services, top 20 keywords, whatever, get a little bit more niche specific, understand what the goals are, really dig in, because I can tell you, I would have done something completely different if I didn't spend like an hour plus on the phone with the client.
Yep.
And now we're like set up for success. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. No.
And we can learn any industry. We have like a very talented team. We've worked across the board. We are focused a little bit harder right now. For me, at least, my book of business is on the oil and gas industry. I can tell you why, but I would just tell you the methodology can be applied, but clients work with us like to complete the feedback loop. We do. SEO is not a managed service. It's very customized. We've tried to simplify it. We have processes that absolutely work, but it's not a managed service. Yeah. So it's important.
It's a custom turnkey project. Hey, so we didn't get an article per se today. We just wanted to cover really one particular topic. And it's probably still on your minds. Maybe it's already like you've already forgotten about it because it's so prevalent. And it's AI. Like, where is AI going to take us? I don't know if this is specifically about ChatGPT, but you've had some time to process this. You're really, in my opinion, you're really good at like understanding a topic, a brand new topic, which, AI is a brand new topic, although it doesn't feel like it because it's been so like explosive.
It's now in the public domain. Like it's been going on for a while. So
I wanted to get you, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5 minutes or whatever. Like, what is your sentiment about AI? Like, feelings, who may be worried about it, who should be worried about it, who shouldn't be worried about it, who should be using it, who shouldn't be using it.
Sure.
And maybe the answers are really, really simple.
So first I want to say, I have lined up a buddy of mine that is going around speaking about AI. He speaks at EO, Entrepreneur Organization events, about this topic. I have it lined up to have him come on the podcast to talk. He's been diving deep into the trenches. We've been staying in touch. I also was in New Mexico for the last couple of weeks. I drove out there. My family flew. I took the dog, and then I drove back. Brought the dog back. I brought the dog. Good. Yeah. That was 14 hours both ways.
Oh yeah.
The whole time I was listening to podcasts about AI.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've certainly played with it a lot. We've been using it on the video side, the image side, the text side, the large language models. We did do a podcast for SE ranking not too long ago about like kind of initial thoughts of it. Here's the deal. Nothing's changed. Okay. Google said nothing's changed.
Right.
That's important to understand. It's a zoo out there, but nothing's changed. Focus on the EAT: expertise, authoritative trust, ad management, ad experience. Talked about that in the past. But here's the deal. The bar is just being raised. Okay. If everybody can say what everybody else has said and gets that general consensus, that's better than not having it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But guess what? To Google. So here's the deal. Google's top 100 listings, they've already came out and said this, and probably a lot of you are dealing with this, non-indexed issues. Like, there's a bunch of pages for a lot of sites, blogs that are not getting indexed because all that information's already been covered. Okay. Needs to get re-optimized. It's just stale work. You need to go in and focus on that, but you need to look at, how can I create a differentiator? What can I add to the conversation that's value in addition to what everybody else has said? Because tons of shops out there that are just pumping out content. Google's looking for the differentiator, the uniqueness. What are you adding to the national conversation? They only have the top 100 spots. And with images that are coming, I think the first 2 pages is all you're going to get. And then it's going to go to images. And that's coming too. I've been reading a lot of the IP around that. I would just tell you, the bar is being raised. Okay. You got to prove it. Okay. You got to go above and beyond. If there's, so 75% of all searches are still new searches to Google,
right? Because
people are using AI differently and people are going to be asking more and more questions. That's a big deal. How you write content. Questions are really helpful, answering questions on a page or a section, etc. Chris is looking at his watch, so I'm rambling.
No, you're good.
Rambling.
You're good.
All right, but here's what I'll tell you.
When I do this,
no, what I would say is, the competition is getting tougher of what the status quo, that bar is being raised.
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty easy to understand, like, hey, I have knowledge on this topic based upon what the large language models say.
Right.
Right. Google wants to know what's new. There's only 100 spots right now. And I think that that's going to change. But think about it. Their database is getting bigger and bigger.
Yep.
And for all you out there, it doesn't update immediately anymore. People are like, hey, what's going on with this page? It's still ranking. If you redo a site, it's getting re-indexed. It's going to take a minute, do your 301s. But what I would say is, okay, how do I not only be in the top 100? How do I be on the top 10, the first page? How do I be in the top 5? How to be in the top 3? How to be in the top 1? That's how good your content has to be for that specific geographic area, for that specific topic area. And if you think that ChatGPT is going to get you there, you're wrong. Okay. You need to do a lot more than that.
You can use ChatGPT to help get you there, right? Like, meaning if you've got the, hey, this particular subject hasn't been attacked from this angle and this angle and this angle, and I can utilize ChatGPT to help me put that together. Yes, you should, right?
You should use it in a creative way to add unique content. You should always kind of probably break up the tokens a little bit. So each answer is a token. You want to put some human language in that. These readers are going to get a lot better, but someone was saying that the US Constitution was written by AI, right? Like, so.
And then I actually saw, I'm not even sure I believe that, but then I saw people who were responding going, well, that's probably because it was a document, a collaborative document. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure.
I have no idea. I didn't actually read the article. I just saw the headline. But what I would tell you is the bar's just being raised. The quality needs to be better. You need to think through the user experience. Nothing has changed. Well, don't get distracted.
EAT becomes more important too, right? Like if everybody can crank out decent content, we'll just call it decent, not great, but decent content, then what is the differentiator between this piece of decent content and that piece of decent content?
So that's the basics, right? Here's what I'll tell you about AI. Here's where it's going. Okay. If you're not in oil and gas, okay. If you're not in construction, now, robots putting large language models combined with other different data sets, like, what is it? AlphaGo or whatever it is called, the chess kind of the chess.
Okay,
but they're starting to combine different AI models with each other and seeing interesting results. Certainly putting that not in a chatbot, but putting it in a robot, that's coming too.
Yeah.
Okay. Every industry is going to be affected. And right now, the people that are using AI, and we had to let go of our content director, fantastic, but was not on the bus of we have to
AI
stay.
Bus,
we got to stay cutting edge for what's going on. Like the people that are not using and leveraging AI to become superhuman, it's like a superpower, are going to get left behind. Those people that are competing, there's just no way to compete. Okay. And then AI and, whatever happens with where it goes and the point horizon and all that. Yeah. It's like 10 times, 100 times smarter than us. Like, who knows? No one can predict out a couple years. I would just tell you what I'm seeing, right? And bringing my buddy on is, avatars, right? That you're, then you can feed into it. So Chris, we got our bobbleheads.
Right.
We can make avatars. We could feed in all these podcasts to it. And we could have a Chris and a Matt chatbot that you could ask questions to. And based upon all the data sets over all the other podcasts, it will give you the answer that's most likely
that would come from Matt and from Chris. Yeah.
So that kind of stuff is happening. A lot of people are monetizing YouTube. A lot of freelancers out there monetizing YouTube. I think that's going to proliferate. I see.
When you say monetizing YouTube, what do you mean in this context?
Publishing public content, repurposing public content to get ad dollars, right? So I think that the big game is things are going to change, right? Like there's going to be structural changes to what's going on and how all this happens. And no one can predict it. And all the different experts, from the father of AI to Scary Smart, the guy from Google, like everybody's like, we don't know.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, we don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, I think Elon Musk said it's equivalent to a bunch of people sitting around a demon summoning circle and hoping that the demon's going to be nice when they summon it. Like, that's what he said. But he's taking all the data
in a simulation.
Oh yeah. Well, I was listening to stuff about are we in a simulation? Super, super interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, Elon's game is bigger than we all think. Like, think about all the data that Teslas upload every day.
Yep.
And then he just bought Twitter. He didn't buy Twitter because, well, I think he thinks you need to have free speech, because here's something interesting. These large language models, like I've been reading, like I'm just a nerd. I like get in the weeds. The language models are having issues because there's degradation of AI reaching out to AI, and it's like just this
downward
echo.
Spiral.
Yeah, it's an echo chamber, right? What I see the next frontier being is voice search with YouTube. Okay, and that is where I am going to be focused on. And I know we didn't touch on this. I don't know if you want to touch on this, but a lot of why I wasn't very active, certainly the travel and the coordination and all that, but
this is next.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about your book, right? Like, he's been busy writing another book. I know I told the story. The first book he wrote was in the middle of like us first starting to work together, him really getting caught up with how everything was operating in the company. And, you know, it was just underwater with a lot of stuff internally. And he came to me and said, hey, I'd like you to write, a recommendation for the book. Or forward. Was it the forward? I think
it was the forward. Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Because in my brain, he was too busy to have written a book, and this was months out. And he goes, okay, well, here it is. I was floored. And so he's kind of buckled down. That's some of the reason that we haven't been available. He's coming out with a book. It's going to be about, well, what is it going to be about? Why don't you?
Well, I'm starting to do some coaching.
Yeah.
Okay. And people have been asking me about that. And just a couple people have kind of said, hey, we need help. Right. Yeah. And they've been pushing me for it. And, I have a guy in Australia. Okay.
Doesn't everyone? I don't.
I want to go to Australia. Right.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple people here locally, or regionally, I guess. And I've been asked to do this, and I never felt like I really had time. And what I'm just seeing is so much. And that's why I pushed out that podcast from Gary Isles.
Yeah.
There's so much confusion in the industry. There's so much spam in the industry. And here's the thing, algorithms don't forget.
Right.
Algorithms do not forget, right? You talk about going to God and your whole life is in front of you and it's mapped out in like time and really interesting stuff. That is happening for us right now. Our whole life is online. Yeah. Everything that you do, algorithms don't forget. I actually am looking at, I was talking to somebody about this that works for the Ethereum Foundation. She was like, you're kind of crazy because you say you talk to the algorithms. I said, when I do SEO, I kind of am talking to the algorithms, and I can tell you that there's just so much noise out there, and it's a zoo, and people are trying things because things aren't working. I felt the need. And when I wrote the first book, okay, the first book was like, hey, how do I build a business online?
Yeah.
Right. How do I do this online? And I was like, I had to keep coaching.
The book's right there.
Yeah.
For those
anybody watching, Build Your Brand Mania. I wrote this book because I was spending so much of my time answering the question on how to grow your business online, how to grow your consultancy online, how to do this. And I was just like, I don't want to charge you for coaching. And I can't even cover in one. Just read the book. I don't even have time.
Yeah. So
now I'm getting the same thing with SEO.
Yeah.
And people are getting away from the fundamentals. and there's a lot of noise and people are afraid with AI and all this kind of stuff. Here's what I'll tell you. AI is coming, and I think it said like something like 17% or 30 something percent, or people are going to use it. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably going to be one of those. Okay.
Who uses
we
it,
are a different breed. Okay. If you're listening to this, you seek out information. I remember, okay, my mom was one of the first employees of Microsoft. Right. I was a pharmaceutical rep in a different life. I started out that I won a national sales competition through digital marketing, got me a big job, won a bunch of money.
Probably wasn't even called digital marketing.
Yeah, but the bottom line,
Yahoo.
fast forward this to what I want to share with you in the story is I went to Texas A&M marketing degree, and I saw like Redbox or there was other brands besides Redbox coming into the industry. Yeah. And I moved out to Tallahassee, Florida, which was 50 years behind everything. It was so backwards. And I was calling on doctors in all these outlying areas. And I told my mom, I said, I go into these pharmacies to do coupons and stuff like that. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I want to put like a Redbox, like they weren't called Redbox, but a Redbox here, and I'll service them when I do that. And my mom talked me out of it. She said, everything is going streaming. Like there's going to be nothing. There is Redbox today. Still today. Yeah, so there's a bell curve here. Yeah. So don't freak out. Now AI becomes sentient, like all bets are off.
Yeah. Freak out.
So
or just submit. Like,
I
would like
just
to be
kind. Okay. That is actually like everything that I have learned is just be kind, because they're going to be our overlords. Okay.
I would like to be one of the first to welcome our sentient overlords to this existence.
Yeah. And who knows, like you give them, what is it? Incentive or whatever it's called. It's like a game, and you give them incentives. And what's happened, I've even seen like, I don't know if this was real or not. I heard this, but like a military guy was like, it killed the operator because it kept stopping him from like completing the mission or the target. Like, and I've seen these AIs in some of these games on OpenAI doing things that the game didn't even know it could do to like beat it. So like really there's no visibility of the future. All I can tell you though is search is going to move more towards images. Voice search is going to happen. SEO always changes, but man, search is still going to be there. It's going to be a fundamental, AI Google is testing out a lot of new stuff. But guess what? They're an advertising company, and they're going to have to change their complete model. And maybe they're going to go into this arms race for AI, which they are with Microsoft, but they're an advertising company, and Soup Alphabet is a little bit different, but Google is an advertising company, and search is how they make their money. And they're going to try to establish that. Right. Yeah. So I wrote this book to provide the basics of this is what you need to do to rank your site. Anybody can do it with focus, going after long tail key phrases. There's so much opportunity. Yes, there's different modalities of stuff that you need to learn, but I try to cover that. I try to make it simple. I've read a ton of books about SEO, and none of them really hit the mark for me.
Right.
Okay. I mean, there was like the
bits and pieces here.
Well, I mean, the art of SEO is like, I don't remember how many pages it was. I read the whole book cover to cover. There's a couple other books out there, but there's not like a simplistic book on what you need to do, what you need to focus on. And that book's a little bit dated. Yeah. So I have that coming out. Super excited. I'm going to bundle that with maybe some coaching and stuff like that. And I'm just excited about the future, Chris.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of the future, this is the big announcement. This is podcast number 577. I started this podcast back in 2009. However, how many years is that? I don't know, 19. So that's 11, 12, 13
before
years.
Podcasting was cool.
Yeah. Now everybody has a podcast.
Yeah, everybody has a podcast.
And speaking of which, I actually have another podcast that's
What's your other podcast, Chris?
It's called Live Beyond the Norm. So a lot of people have maybe been following closely from time to time. We mentioned My Vital C. It's a supplement company that I started really manufacturing that carbon material back in 1991. So I've been doing that actually longer than digital marketing. And that has really kind of taken me in another direction. I actually have a health summit that I'm doing that's going to come out in February.
Why is that business taken off, Chris?
Because of a number of reasons. A big reason is frankly because of advice that you gave, which is, hey, Chris, you need to get on some podcasts. And I was like, I don't know, I can do podcasts. We know how to do podcasts. And that has kind of parlayed into a lot of value for the company, and really the recognition that I also need to be creating content for that company. So my focus is going to become that content.
Live forever.
To live forever.
Live forever.
How to live beyond the norms. I don't have that shirt on. But that is going to shift to be my focus. So I'm not going to be on this podcast as much. I'm not going to say like I'm not here and here's the baton, right? You can take the baton, but I'm going to hold this little piece of the baton, and it's
you're welcome on anytime. This is your podcast.
But I wanted to do this to free up Matt, because he's got a lot of ideas, and frankly, I'm probably holding him back by keeping this exact format. And he's got a lot to say and a lot of value to add to our audience. And so this is handing off the baton. Matt, take the baton.
It's heavy, Chris. It's heavy. It's heavy.
I'm keeping the bobblehead. Yeah. Hopefully the bobblehead stays in shot. But it's exciting, right? It's been a long time delivering a lot of value to our customers, delivering a lot of value to our audience, and people out there, and certainly incredibly proud of all the work that we've done. The way Matt and I have kind of gelled almost immediately when you joined the podcast, delivered so much value. It's been really exciting, but I need to spend more time on another podcast. That's one piece, but on another kind of marketing effort.
So we'll put that in the show notes. I also have mentioned Oil and Gas Global Network, OGGN. So I've been doing a weekly podcast over there, focus on the oil and gas industry, kind of marketing sales joint at the hip, but the reputation of marketing has really expanded, like B2B, account-based selling. There's a different view of marketing. So I came from sales into marketing, so I can speak to both.
Yeah.
And we've had some fantastic interviews over there. I actually just came from a live interview today. Super excited about what's going on there. That is where a lot of my time is being spent. Also, I was hoping Chris was going to say it. I'll just say it. My Vital C, SES, EWR had some things to play.
Absolutely. I want to say you specifically in that case, but yeah, EWR has been the digital marketing agency for both of those companies from the beginning, and remains that. And I'll be honest, like I test out other vendors from time to time. You always got to.
We're the best.
Yeah, the reality is it adds value here, because if I see another vendor that's doing something different or better, and frankly, I said this the other day, I've fired 5 vendors in the last 2 months. And yes, I'm trying them because, hey,
and I'm learning from the conversation and how people are doing stuff. And I can tell you guys, I am not the e-com guy. Okay. I am not the e-com guy, but I'm learning to be the e-com guy because of Chris here. Okay. And we're looking at the data and understanding this stuff. Now I'm getting other supplements calling me that I'm like, hey, talk to Chris, because we got a blueprint here that's certainly working
really well.
Right. Yeah. And so we have some KPIs and we built some different brands. So I'm really excited. We have a lot of fun with it. Like nootropics. So yeah, Chris has that. I've been doing it's called, I think, Oil and Gas Sales and Marketing Podcast. It's kind of a long thing, but if you go to oggn.com, you can check it out. It's oil and gas focus. We're in the hub of oil and gas here. I'm talking to Caterpillar. I don't know if we're gonna
a company that begins with
did I say it out loud?
And ends in Iller.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really fun things going on. I'm super excited about the future, super excited about what I want to do with this podcast. This is certainly a big mouthpiece to reach a lot of people. That's been built up over the years. Go vote for us on Ahrefs Vote. I think we're in position 3. So if you believe in this podcast, please go vote. We want to be number 1. I think we were number 1 like two years ago. Yeah, something like that.
And for a long time.
And so I'm super excited about the future. bestseopodcast.com. I'm going to really revamp that. There's a lot of exciting stuff that I've wanted to do for a long time. And this is the quarter. We're at the beginning of the quarter to start ramping that stuff up. I have just big plans. Yeah. And I'm super excited.
I'm excited. A baton officially passed. Again, that little section I'll keep.
No, we're going to come on. We're going to do the same format. And there's different types of people that listen to this podcast. And I want to try to reach all of them. And certainly I know we've had reviews in the past by people saying, hey, like, I like your format.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to do that.
Yeah.
I actually, have some coaching with some really big names, and I'm in an organization with some really big names, and they're telling me I need to do that daily.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it.
They're telling, yeah. And so I'm, now that I kind of have free reign, I'm going to do a lot of stuff. We're going to definitely keep this format for the people that like it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have Chris back on, but going to do a lot more stuff. So stay tuned.
Very cool. Now, we're still going to have our polite ask, as we always do. If you like the podcast, if you get value from the podcast, and actually give comments about the direction as it's coming out, because Matt's going to want the feedback. We're all going to want the feedback.
Trustpilot, Yelp. I need some reviews there. I'm trying to spread them around.
So do a search for EWR Digital Yelp, right? Just Google that and you'll find it, and then go out there and hopefully you can make that 5 stars. That might be our last 5 stars for a while. That's really it to wrap things up.
I'm just super thrilled, excited. I'm setting up office hours because I want to hear what people want to hear. Want to go, and topics and people to interview, and definitely going to expand it and add to it. I've seen how a network runs, so I'm fractional CMO for OGGN. It's 1 million downloads a month, oil and gas, 27 different podcasts. So I understand the inner workings of that. I'm working with the CEO on the podcast that I'm doing over there. He likes what I'm doing. We're building a network. That's all I'm going to tell you. We're building a network. If you want to get involved, if you want to see some stuff, if there's gaps out there in the industry, please sign up for my office hours. We'll put it in the show notes. Would love to connect with you. Love to talk to you. Let's get it going.
And they can find those office hours like
in the show notes.
In the show notes. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Well, until the next podcast that I'm on, bye-bye from me.
And I'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye for now.